Going live on YouTube. Give it a second. There we go. Hello, YouTube. Switching YouTube live.
Hello.
Okay. Surprise, surprise. Wolf and I are here. A duo again. And wouldn't you know it, it's a roguelike. Today on... And I realize now that this is 2 weeks in a row we talked about roguelikes, because technically Blueprints is also a roguelike. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Press Me to Cancel, your favorite video game podcast. Notice I'm just going to give up on calling retro until we go back to retro. This week we're going to talk about a game that I know nothing about, but it is pretty widely well reviewed when it came out in 2021, and that is Gunfire Reborn. And to kind of break this down for me is Werewolf. Wolf, you've been playing this game, I think, for a couple months now, I think, right?
Yeah, I want to say about 3 months.
Okay.
It was gifted to me by Vaughn ages ago, so it took me a long time to start it up. Sorry, Vaughn. But now that I'm into it, holy hell, is it a good game. Like,
so all I know is that it's first person, it's a roguelike, and it's got procedural generation of levels. Those are all things on paper I really like.
Okay, so we'll come back to this, but the procedural generation is no. It is not procedural level generation.
You tell me Wikipedia is wrong? How dare you?
Yep, apparently. So it's not procedural. It is.
Okay.
I guess that's a half decent place to start, but let's go back a little. Let's talk about the franchises. Like, first, let's talk about the developer of this. I thought they were an indie developer, but looking into it, it sounds like they are maybe AA.
Okay. So there's a team involved.
They've made, yeah. So they are responsible for 2 of China's most successful game franchises, apparently. The Shenmue series and the Dream World series. And these games, like, their wheelhouse tends to be turn-based tactical RPGs or MMOs. MMORPGs. So this is like way outside that, right?
Well, because when I looked up on Steam, the developer, to see what other games they had on Steam, it's Gunfire Reborn and everybody's favorite Steam game, ZM Desktop Elf. That's all they got on Steam. So they must have a history of other storefronts they sell stuff on. Yeah, Desktop Elf is what I see besides Gunfire Reborn. But this game has been out since 2021. There's quite a bit of DLC. So I'm kind of curious to see, like, do you have just the base game or have you touched the DLC as well?
No. So they have an interesting way of doing it. They have the base game, which I think standard is $30.
Okay.
30 US. And then, and let me just double check that real quick. And then they have DLCs that they tend to release once per online season, you know, the way Diablo has seasons.
Yeah, they're in season 4, I believe, as of January.
Oh, Gunfire is only $20, not $30.
Okay, all right.
And it looks, and the DLCs are $7 a pop, so it is not bad at all. They are not squeezing you.
Yeah, it sounds pretty reasonable.
So it's base game is $20, DLCs are $7. Each DLC comes out in the process of any given season. So currently it's on season 3. I don't know how they factor their seasons, seeing as it's been out for what, 4 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw they're advertising season 4. They're in the middle of season 4 right now.
Is it season 4 they're in right now? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe season 1 didn't have DLCs. Maybe season 2 is when they first started the DLCs. So the DLCs add 2 characters each and an array of weapons that are sort of designed for those characters. They interact well with other characters depending, but they're kind of designed around those characters and their abilities in mind. I have 2 of the DLCs. I skipped the first one because the characters didn't sound super interesting to me, nor did the weapons. And my buddy who bought all 3 DLCs confirmed that for me.
Okay.
So the gameplay that I recorded for this video, I want to preface, that is actually a DLC character. He is from the season, the second DLC. So he's I can't remember the names of them, but basically that DLC comes with the purple owl. His name is Zijao, which apparently literally translates to purple owl.
Makes sense, I guess.
And then and then Nona, who she was the one that I really bought the DLC for, because she's a tinkerer. She's got a mech character that runs around with her that can revive you should you get knocked down. So, when I was first getting the hang of the game and I bought that DLC and played with her, oh man, the game became a cakewalk for me because someone was always there to resurrect me in single player.
Right.
Whereas usually in single player, you can resurrect yourself once at the cost of a currency that you use throughout everything in the game. And that currency is only earned by playing. So it's not something you can just pay for and have a bunch of. You have to play. So the way it works is you pick your character. I think the base game has 6 or 7 characters. 2 of them you have to pay with that soul essence currency to unlock. They all vary pretty wildly, honestly. It's weird to have a first-person shooter where all the characters feel different. And it does seem like they really take their time, especially with the second and third DLCs, as far as fleshing those characters out and making them feel unique. So the character you see here, they all have their own special abilities and their own individual talent tree, as well as a shared talent tree. The character you see here is Zijao. He's got little tarot cards he throws out in front of him, and they'll automatically shoot for whoever's in front of him that's in the line of sight, or rather straight down the sights. And those things are just a monster in damage.
So every class has their own unique abilities. There's no characters who share those abilities. They're all completely unique.
Right. So they have what are called primary and secondary skills. The primary and secondary skills are unique to each character. So like one character, his primary skill is to dual wield. Instead of just using one gun at a time, he can use 2. And he really synergizes well with weapons that are explosive. So you're just being a crazy explosive damage machine, dual wielding 2 guns that just boom, 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 boom. Everything around you is just decimated. And once you've got him filled out enough, that also heals him while he's doing it. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay. How many weapon types are in the game? I know the weapons are probably randomized.
There's like 8 weapons, I want to say. 8 weapon categories. And then each of those categories has somewhere between 6 and 10 weapons. And each season they add another weapon or 2, I think. And then the DLCs also add like 6 weapons. And then oh my gosh. Oh yeah, the weapons, when you pick them up, they also have inscriptions on them, much like you find in, Diablo or World of Warcraft or whatever. And those are randomized, so they might affect how much damage output the weapon does, how the elemental effect the weapon has, maybe reload speed or magazine size or rate of fire, how much damage it does to bosses and elites extra, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then there are also unique ones that are unique to that weapon type, and sometimes to that specific weapon. And then there's also what they call Gemini inscriptions. And those, when you have 2 weapons with the same Gemini inscription, they both get that buff. So you have to have one in your main hand, one in your offhand that have the same Gemini for that buff to count.
Okay.
So I have a trick I like where I have a weapon that does a ton of like quick attacks. And then in the offhand, I'll have a weapon that has a high chance for elemental attack.
Okay.
And when they share their elemental effects, now I'm like every other shot, basically, I'm doing an elemental attack with this thing that's just putting out like 100 shots a second. Like
I like the combinations. It kind of reminds me of Borderlands to a degree, where you're just getting crazy mods on weapons and combining them for just interesting effects. Um, is there like other items you equip, or is it just weapons? Like, is there armor or accessories
um
or?
there are weapons, and then there are what you find throughout called occult scrolls. And those give you, most of them give you a boon. There are also cursed ones that can cause a negative impact on you. And then there are some scrolls that, like, if you have the more cursed scrolls you have, the more beneficial those scrolls are. And then of course there's scrolls that lets you destroy cursed scrolls. There's ways to sell them or get rid of them.
Okay.
There's one that just nullifies cursed scrolls, so you don't even have to worry about those negative effects. So there's the more you play, the more you'll see ridiculously wild synergies that you didn't consider. And you just, especially when I'm playing with my buddy, we'll just have like a weird run where we're getting weird scrolls, and it's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna give this a shot and see where it goes. And sometimes by the end of the run, we're absolute beasts that are just, it's something we would have never even thought would work with the first week we were playing, and just dying every run in like World 1 or 2.
Okay. I know it's a roguelike, but is there any carrying of weapons you may have found that you like forward into other runs, or is it completely from scratch every time?
As far as I know, no, it's completely from scratch every time. Though,
Okay.
after a time, so I didn't clarify something. Pardon me. There is a shared talent tree, like I said, that costs soul essence to fill out. And as you fill that out, you kind of like it gives your account a higher level tier because it's shared between everybody. And then that lets you unlock the higher talents for a given character. At first, that's kind of iffy to like get filled out really well, and you kind of want to focus on one character. Later on, you're getting so much soul essence and you've got so much to spend on that it doesn't really matter so much. But there's also, each character has their own what they call ascensions. And there are 3 ascension types, and usually you'll get what a golden goblet on every scene, they call them. So basically like substage. So like World 1 has 5 scenes. And at the end of each scene, or yeah, at the end of each scene you'll get a goblet, and that goblet will give you 3 choices as to what ascension you can pick from. And so there's 3 ascension types in each character and 6 in each of the types. So your
Okay.
runs are going to be different every time because you're finding different abilities to go with what you've got. So you kind of have to, you're playing a little bit to the whims of RNG on any given run, not just with your weapons, not just with your scrolls, but also with the ability power ups your character innately gets.
Yeah, Sinister's in chat and he says that you can really break the game, like things like never having to reload or combining the right synergies. There are buffs you can spend points on between runs. So it sounds like definitely a roguelike. Definitely something I'm into.
Oh yeah.
So and I like that there's some kind of upgrade path between runs, or at least some kind of pumping of abilities. I like
Yeah.
that kind
So
of features.
there's a talent tree, like I said, and it'll allow you to reduce incoming damage, and you can spend 4 points into that, or 4 or 5 tiers into that, to reduce how much. Increase your health pool, increase your ammo pool, all sorts of stuff. Um, and then there's any given run, there are 4 worlds. I think the first time you beat it, you only get to experience 3. Either that, or I was just blind and missed the last area the first time. Um, but yeah, there's 4 worlds, and each world has a boss at the end of it. And then after you've cleared it, you start to see, and there's a potential of getting an alternate boss in each of those areas.
Like looks
So
different
there's
boss, or just a variant of the same
no
boss
is
graphic.
very different boss.
Okay.
So in area 1, there's the tiger guy that you were just showing on the screen there. Leopard, I don't know, he's something like that. Otherwise, there's a giant golem you can fight who's just at the end of the
Okay.
arena throwing rocks at you and shooting lasers and all sorts of stuff. So they're wildly different. Um the level generation. Okay, let's get back to that. So
Right. So it's not
uh
procedural.
It is not procedural. There are different areas that they built out. And so that map is always the same map. However, the doorways that are open and connect to the next room and whatnot are always different. So while it's not procedural, you'll probably never see the same pathway in most
Okay.
areas.
Okay. So it's like randomized layout, like rooms, but not necessarily procedurally generated, which is fine. I mean, other
Right.
games do that too, right? So like Rogue Legacy is kind of that aspect, right, where there's a certain number of type of rooms, but they're just randomly oriented, and you may not see all of them.
Right. So it's not even like that. It's literally a pre-built map that's just huge, and then it's separated into its rooms, and that's just
Oh, I
how it
see.
is. And each
Okay.
room might have 2 to 8 entrances or exits to it that
Right.
adjoin to another room, and so you'll go through there, and now you're in another area. So
Okay. So then, would you feel like there's enough variety that you don't get kind of bored of those maps? Like, does anything else change? Like,
I
is the
do.
enemies the same
Uh,
or?
the enemies are exclusive to each zone, and then as you play in higher tiers, you'll see alternate forms of those enemies. You'll see, um, I don't remember what they call them, but they're variants that have like a special ability. So, like, there's one type that's called Immortal, and that
Okay.
one, when you get it down to dead, it'll stick around and keep doing stuff for another 10 seconds before it actually dies. Um, there's ones that are like they have a ton of damage output. They're called powerful, I think. So there's stuff like that. They're different and do different things, but it's just like a super variant, not necessarily an elite, but like a champion maybe or something.
Like
There's a
kind of like
term
what
for it and I
Diablo
can't
has.
remember it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
champion elites where they have a modifier that makes them a bit different, stand out. Yeah.
Right. So there's modifiers and then there's actual elites, and those actual elites will drop treasure as well, like weapons or a golden goblet or scrolls or something. And then in most areas, you'll also find a vault, which is a little challenge room that you can choose not to do or go in. Sometimes it's an elite boss. Sometimes it's just a bunch of enemies. Sometimes it's survive waves of enemies. Sometimes it's a jumping puzzle. So
Okay. Okay, so when you say jumping puzzle, I don't mind jumping in first person games. I know we've mentioned Turok in the past. I've been fine with the jumping in Turok, not my favorite platforming first person style. How does that feel in this game?
it's not bad. I don't mind it
Okay.
at all. Most of my challenge on these jumping puzzles comes with like either I don't have a speed modifier and so I'm feeling a little slow and barely making the jumps, or I have too much speed modifier and you have to land on a little tiny pole to get to the next one and you're just
Okay.
zooming past it. So, but most of the time it's not a little tiny pole. Most of the time it's good sized platforms. So it was just that was a particular run where I had like 90% speed increase and it was just absurd.
Okay. I'm just watching some of the footage of this game. I never even
Oh
heard
yeah,
of
there's
this
also
game.
shops. There's
Yeah.
shops. There's you can buy scrolls from them, you can buy health, ammo, your special skill ammo. I don't know what you'd really call that other than that, but and then weapons. And then there's also like when you get to not nightmare. Oh, they have another term for it. It's the 4th difficulty tier where you can
Okay.
start throwing modifiers on the difficulty. You see another type of peddler who's also, you have to spend your soul essence to buy from him instead of just the copper you find in that run. Because copper does not persist, soul essence does.
Okay.
Um, and then there's also craftsmen who can upgrade your weapons, put an extra etching on it. Depending on higher difficulties, you can also re-roll the etchings or other things. There's a lot in this game. Every
How long
time
is
I
like a
move to a new
run?
difficulty level.
Like how long is it to beat like
Um,
one world, for example? I guess you said
so
there's four worlds, but how long to get through like one
right.
world?
So there's 4 zones. Each zone for me now is probably about 20 minutes, give or take.
Okay, so that's So if you got through 4
Um,
worlds, that's a good hour or more, right? That's a pretty good size
yeah. So
beefy run.
when I play with my buddy, because we're like, the more players there are, I should mention this is up to 4 players online.
Okay.
Um, the more players there are, the more difficult the enemies get. They have higher health pools, they have more damage output, stuff like that. So, playing on 2 player with him, our runs are about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Huh. Okay.
Whereas this run by myself took me about an hour and a half. And that's because it wasn't like, I found this. You want it? Can you give me what do you have that's interesting? Stuff like that.
Right.
So without having to worry about that and just factoring it all for yourself on single player, it's going to go faster.
Is there
And the
in-game
enemies are
chat or
also
i-
substantially weaker.
is it
There is
in-game
an
chat or
in-game
Discord that you guys are
there's an
using?
in-game text chat, but we use Discord.
Okay,
I
that
don't know
makes
if there's a
sense.
voice chat,
Okay. Yeah,
but
this looks
yeah,
pretty interesting.
it's really fast paced. I am not a first person shooter guy. So the fact that I was kind of really, really hooked on this game and kept wanting to do more runs, like usually my buddy and I'll play on our Thursday night session and then we'll wait and play again on our Thursday night session. Well, both of us were just like, screw it, I'm gonna play a couple runs. And by next week, it was like, I'm sorry I played some. He was like, yeah, me too. No big deal.
So that's what I was going to ask then. I guess so there's a lot of variety in the runs. It's really fun multiplayer, but I'm kind of stuck on the idea that there's only 4 worlds. They haven't added any new zones since it's come out, or because there's seasons in the
Well,
game. So I'm just curious, are the season just adding characters, or are they doing like the battle pass thing? Do you know?
they there is a sort of battle pass thing. You don't have to pay into it. It's literally just there every season.
Okay.
Um, and so you accomplish goals throughout the season. Like it has what they call season quests. And sometimes it's like kill 10 of this thing, do this 100 times,
Right.
shoot this many bullets, things like that. And each of those gives you experience toward the season that fills up your battle pass. You get rewarded with like weapon skins or emotes or avatars, um, and soul essence. And then I think there's a couple other things in there too. But at the end of it, once you hit the top level, it just starts cycling you through the last 5 with randomly 50 to 150 soul essence per level.
Right. So all cosmetic for the most part, really, just in some currency that you get in
Yeah.
game. Okay.
hmm So that
Okay.
currency is, like I said, it's used for buying stuff for from the season shop. It's used for leveling up your characters, the talent trees, and all that. Um, it's used to unlock 2 additional characters that are in the base game. You just don't have access to them right away. It also
Right.
gets used for a new mode they just added this season, where you spend on like upgrades that are specific to that mode, and it's only a
Okay.
single player mode. And I've not really messed with it, but I know that that's there, and that's brand new this season. So
Okay. So it's not, so I guess there's still like Sinistar in chat is saying that it's less about the maps and more about finding the awesome synergies of upgrades and stuff you find
yes,
in game. So I'm just trying to
very much
think.
so.
That sounds interesting. I've played games that are like this. Ziggurat was one game I played that's like this, but in that game, while there were different characters in Ziggurat, you had to unlock all of them, and they felt very similar. But in this game, all the characters look very varied in terms of what they're doing. Like I like the
Yes,
different abilities in the characters.
they're all very different. So you do start with just one character, and
Okay,
all the other characters are unlocked, but some are unlocked by getting to a certain talent level, and some are unlocked by spending soul essence. So
I
the 2
see.
soul essence characters were the last things I unlocked. I I did pretty much the whole tree first. Um, but yeah, the synergies is really where it's at. The characters are very, very unique. Like I said, there's one who just his special ability is dual wielding. Another one is he throws grenades. Another one, like the owl, he throws the tarot cards. Nona, she has the mech that runs around and beats things up with her. So it's like having a second character with you.
Right.
And it's literally a chicken running around in that mech, shooting things or beating them up. It's kind of funny. Um, there's one guy who goes like beast mode, and you just sort of rampage around and hurt everything in your area and um oh man, there's so many different character types. It's ridiculous. There's some that are just melee. It's a first person shooter and there are melee
Oh,
characters in
really?
this
Just
game.
melee
There's
characters.
there are
Okay.
melee weapons, and it's not like they can't use ranged weapons, but their abilities and skills sync really well with melee weapons. So there are swords and daggers and things like that as well in this game.
Okay. So how does that control? Like, how does that feel? The difference between the melee and the ranged weapons. Does the game control well? Does it feel like it's fun, like fun to handle?
I do. I think so. I honestly haven't played with a character I disliked at all.
Okay,
Um, but again,
well,
I
that's good.
skipped on the first DLC. And I haven't even played the characters from the 3rd DLC yet. I just kinda wanted access to the weapons for now and haven't made
Right.
time to play a run with them. But there's yeah, the characters, they feel so different. It's really good. And they all look different. So, like, you got an owl, you got a, uh, firefox, you got a squirrel, you got a rabbit, you got a dog, you got there's like a green bird. He's one of the melee characters. Um, there's a beaver. I think it's no, he's a hedgehog. So,
Okay. I was gonna say Canadian representation with the beaver, but no, denied. That's okay.
well, because he plays with water in the tavern when you're on the character select, and so I thought he was a beaver at first, but then
Okay.
when you actually get to see him from all angles, he's a hedgehog. But
Um.
yeah, it's like he's plays on melee with invincibility. That's his thing. Is like you activate a shield, get up close and start bashing everything as much as possible and
Oh, that
moving
sounds
around the
interesting.
map as quickly as possible. So it really is like even the 3 melee characters. So yeah, I think there's 3 melee characters that I've used and they all feel so different. The enemies are just wild. Some of them teleport around. So like there's a UFO we just saw in this shot. Um, and the UFOs suck for the melee guys, I'll tell you.
Oh, because they can't do well. So they have an option to range. They can use weapons, but they won't have their
They can
specials
use
that take
ranged
advantage
weapons,
of it.
but yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So I guess overall, like
So if
then
you're
the replay value of this is still really high. Like there's progression, a sense of progression in the game. Like I'm thinking of something like Helldivers 2, which I played a bunch of. And while there was limited progression in terms of what you can unlock for your ship, there wasn't a whole lot there to kind of to build up on. Like once you unlock something like a weapon, you once you unlocked a favorite weapon, you're good. But in this game, it looks like there's a whole tree involved.
yeah, the once you unlock a weapon, that is a weapon that can randomly appear for you on any run.
Okay,
Same with the
all right,
occult scrolls. Once you've unlocked one, it can randomly appear for you on any run. You won't see it until you've unlocked it. You have to accomplish certain things to unlock the scrolls or the weapons, but once they're there, you might have a run where you're playing as a melee character and never see a single melee weapon. It can happen. It sucks.
oh yeah, that would suck.
Um,
Okay,
Sometimes the RNG just hates you, and sometimes it absolutely loves you, and sometimes it messes with you and you find something wild that's just wacky and fun.
okay,
But it really is there's going back to the zones, there are actually uh alternate versions of some of the zones as you unlock more stuff. So as you progress, like let's take the second zone. It's the desert.
right,
There's the first type of the desert, and then the second and third area, you open up an option to where you'll swap from the main desert to an alternate desert where the layouts are different, the enemies are different, things like that. Once you
okay.
swap over to that alternate desert, you don't come back. So you're seeing different enemy types, you're getting different level layouts.
Is there like weather or times of day is different, or is it just same graphical style, just different layout of enemies and stuff?
Same graphical style, just different
Okay,
layout of enemies. It honestly seems like as you're playing, you start in a tomb that's underground, and then it seems like it's progressing through maybe a day as you're playing because
okay.
you're inside, and then the second area, it's middle of the day, you're in the desert. The third area, it's kind of evening, and you're in a water area, and then the fourth area, you're in the snow and it's dark out. So
Okay.
that's kind of the way it plays. And some of the bosses are worse than others. Mine and my friend's personal experience is the first boss that you experience in the third area is the worst boss in the game.
What does that one look like?
It's a boat.
A boat?
And the reason it's the worst is because it has phases where it becomes invincible. And it still
Okay.
does a ton of damage output while it's invincible.
Okay.
Whereas its alternate is a snake in the water, like serpents in the water that you have to shoot and, wait for them to get close if you want to hit them up close. But it's so much easier a fight than the boat one. It's never
Yeah.
invincible, so you don't have that issue.
Sinister in chat is saying that, yeah, the Hydra is the one he hates the most. So sometimes it's a boat, sometimes it's a Hydra, and the Hydra sucks.
Oh,
So-
I prefer the Hydra. The
oh,
boat
you prefer the
sucks.
Hydra? Interesting.
I
Okay.
can kill most runs. The Hydra is dead within 10 seconds for me. With my friend, it's done. It's usually dead within 30. The boat is always a chore. Always.
Okay, that's
But
interesting.
yeah, there's 2 bosses that I know of for each area. The first one, like I said, was the leopard or the golem. The
Right.
second area has a giant sandworm, or it has a griffin kind of beast thing that flies around.
Okay.
And we talked about the Hydra or the ship, and then the fourth area has either a polar bear knight who's very Lich King-ish,
Undead polar bear
or
knight.
you'll fight.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise I don't know if he's undead, but he does like the whole arena and the setting and the character's design. It all makes me think of Lich King. But I also played a lot of WoW, and then the alternate is a giant genie.
Okay. Sounds like a good amount of variety then in the bosses. It just
Yeah,
yeah, I'm just looking at the footage. This game does also looks really interesting. I like the graphical style of this. It's cel shaded, like it's low polygon in a way, but it's
it,
cel shaded cartoonish. But it seems like a lot of
it's not
variety.
cel shaded, but it is cartoonish. It's
Okay.
how was I describing it? I think I was describing it as like Borderlands Spyro the Dragon kind of mixture.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I definitely see the Spyro influence. Yeah. But it's a good style. I saw that this is it's running on Unity. Because when I was first looking at the Wikipedia article on this, the first thing I noticed is it's on freaking everything. Xbox
Yeah.
One, Xbox X, PS4, PS5, iOS, Android, and I think it's on Switch now as well. So it's on everything, but that's because it's on Unity, and Unity lets you port to everything. But this game is literally on everything, and I've not heard of it, which is kind of interesting to me. But it looks pretty solid.
Yeah, so the only issues I've had with the game, because I've been singing its praises, the only issues I've had is it tend to have to do with the translation.
Okay.
So there's the odd thing that you'll come across that's still in Chinese characters, particularly with my owl character that I like to play as. There's a toggle in his menu that is not in English.
Oh, weird. Okay.
And he has one of his special unique abilities is he can re-roll once per scroll. He can re-roll them to be something else of same or better quality. And so once he re-rolls a thing, that scroll that's been re-rolled gets marked as been re-rolled. That toggle
Right.
will hide it from the menu
Okay.
when you're trying to re-roll things. So, but it's not in English. So the first time I saw it, I was
Huh.
like, "What does this do?" So I had to mess with it to figure it out. The mech apparently for my friend when I'm playing with that character, I see the mech's name in English. He sees the mech's name in Chinese. So apparently, if it's not your mech, it's not in English.
Interesting.
But then some of the English translations, I'll read them for like challenges or the odd scroll or whatever, and sometimes I have to read it 4 or 5 times to really get an idea of what it's doing because the wording is weird.
Right.
I saw the challenge tasks for the first time last night in the hardest mode, and I have no idea what some of those were asking me to do because I kept failing them.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, when we said that we weren't sure if this was an indie game, or not. But I think you're right. This is probably double A size company, so a small company or a small studio making this. So sometimes translation is not the does not get the most money or most resources from the company, right? So, but overall, watching the footage and seeing it, most of it looks like it's translated fine. Like there isn't really
Yeah.
a story in this. Like there's no cutscenes, or am I wrong there?
No, there are a few cutscenes. The first few times you play and accomplish things, you'll get it's no like, you know, full cutscene thing, but instead you'll
Right.
have the first few times you play, you're playing through as the Crown Prince, the main cat character with the hat.
Is he? Oh, he's a cat.
And
Okay. All right.
yeah, he's a cat. And the first time you beat it, he'll have a cutscene where he talks to the tavern keeper or innkeeper, whatever he is, and they'll discuss things, and the innkeeper will give him some insights as to what's going on. And then when you beat the final boss for the first time, they'll have another discussion. So every time you accomplish new stuff in the game, they'll have those cutscenes. But I haven't seen those cutscenes since I moved on to the second difficulty
Right.
tier. And it's
Okay.
literally just dialogue back and forth. It's no animated characters doing anything. So
Yeah. I mean, for this kind of game, I wasn't really expecting it. I was just kind of curious. But yeah, this looks pretty
but
solid. I
it's
think
it's
I was looking
very
on
fun.
I was looking on SteamDB to see how many people play it, and I think it averages at around 1,000 people in a 24-hour period, give or take. Is there like online matchmaking at all, or is it just you hook up with a friend
As
code
far
and
as
that's it?
no, there is a matchmaking thing you can do. I just haven't messed with it.
Okay.
I generally either play with my friend or solo. Um, I do want to mention that, I'm playing it on my PC. I play it on my PC, which has a 1080, so it's getting kind of dated. I'm using a Ryzen 2700, so and my computer runs it absolutely fine in 1440p.
Oh, great.
Um,
Okay.
and then I've also played it on the Steam Deck. And the Steam Deck runs it really well for the most part. There's the odd frame drop because there's just so much happening,
Right.
but that's not super common.
Yeah, like I'm at the point where I don't expect everything to run on the Steam Deck, but if it doesn't, I'd play it less. Right? If it runs on the Steam Deck, it's going to get a lot more gaming time out of me. So it's always nice when a game, especially a game when it's only $20, which is really reasonable for something like this. If it runs on the Steam Deck, all so much the better. But it's also like I said, it's on everything. I can't imagine trying to play this on the phone, but I guess there must be controller support in the phone. That's crazy. Unity is a hell of an engine, man. It's something else.
Yeah, I mean, what I wanted to convey with that is it plays really well with mouse and keyboard or a controller.
Okay.
With the
Good.
controller, it's because when I play at the PC, I play with mouse and keyboard. And if I fire it up on the Steam Deck, I know what all the buttons are already after like the first run, and I don't even have to think of the swap from one mode to the other. It's literally just
Right.
I'm playing on the Steam Deck. It's I know what all the buttons are. It's not confusing by any means.
That's awesome. It's got like pretty good reviews across the board. I saw on Steam it's very positive rankings. Very few people are complaining about it. The few people I saw that were nagging on it was mostly about lack of levels, like worlds. But it sounds like there's still a lot of variety within those maps, which is pretty interesting. And $20.
Sinistar picked
Hard to go wrong with 20
bucks.
bucks. Like,
yeah. Sinistar called this out as his hidden gem a while back. I don't remember what episode number that was in, but I do remember that was the one where he had like it would no, it was like a year or two ago.
that far back. Okay.
It had like 14,000 positive reviews on Steam or 14,000 reviews on Steam at the time. I think it's over 100,000 now.
Yeah. And like a game like this where it's still being updated, which I think almost 5 years later is pretty awesome. Yeah, 4 years later is pretty great. I was a little hesitant when I hear the word seasons. I'm like, I don't know, but as long as it's mostly cosmetic, right, or in-game currency, then I don't really care so much. It's fine. But adding new characters every season, every DLC, that's really awesome to see.
They have a roadmap, a development roadmap that they show you at launch every time. And so I've seen a couple of different splash screen versions of that since I started playing. But they show you where they're at, what they plan to do this season, what they've got planned for next season, and some ideas they've got planned for beyond. And it's vague. It's like, new weapon type, new area, new character, stuff like that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's all obfuscated. It's just the shadow or outline of whatever the thing is they're talking about. They don't specifically show you what it is.
That's still neat to see. Like just seeing a game like
Yeah.
this, obviously, he's done well for the
The fact
company.
that it's got a
Right.
roadmap that they're planned
Yes.
that far out
Yes.
is
And still
impressive.
updating. Yeah. That's awesome. Interesting. No, this game looks really rad. I might have to check it out. $20 is hard to say no. Like I've paid more for games where I barely touched, but this one looks like it'll be a lot of fun with the runs. I'm a sucker for a good roguelike, especially one where there's a variety of characters to play as and mess around with, and there's definitely a lot of characters in this game. And I dig the weapon types. Because my issue was I have played games that are similar to this. Like I said, Ziggurat was one of them, and I like Ziggurat, but it just felt like every character was mostly the same, and it didn't feel like there was enough variety. Right, you're always inside a tomb. Felt like, but this I didn't get very far in Ziggurat to be fair. But this one seems to have a good variety in locations. Character designs are really good. I like the graphical style. Lots of weapons. Melee types are interesting to me. I like that in games. When we talked a minute about Borderlands, I'm that idiot who always plays the melee character in Borderlands. It's maybe not the most optimum, but I'll be damned. I'm going to put a bayonet on my gun and use that. So I like that in first-person games. That's neat too.
Well, me and my friend are not necessarily first-person shooter players. I just don't gravitate toward them.
Right.
Like I played through Borderlands 1, I played some of Borderlands 2. I don't think I've touched any of the recent Dooms. I can't remember the last first-person shooter I played before this. It's been that long.
Yeah.
But it was probably a Halo actually.
He
doesn't play a lot of first-person shooters because he gets motion sickness from them most of the time.
Okay.
He's not had that issue with this at all. So there's that too. But
okay.
And he loved Doom Eternal and Doom 2016. So he's more into, I guess, he seeks out first-person shooters more often than I do. But his motion sickness kind of deters him from long sessions with them.
Yeah, a buddy of mine has
both
that
of us
problem
have really enjoyed this.
where it's one of two things. What will it run on because his computer's a bit dated, and then number two is it third person or not because he can't play first person games at all, right? Especially if there's like head bobbing or motion blur.
Yeah,
it's a no go for him. So I can appreciate that. Interesting. Well, yeah, this game looks awesome. Wolf, I think this is one to pick up. Like definitely, I can see Hidden Gem because again, I don't see a lot of people playing it concurrently a lot. But the fact that it's on everything, right? Like it's on everything. It's got amazing reviews and it's $20 and they're still updating it is like a combination of wins to me. That seems really, really, really awesome. Gunfire Reborn.
I have to wonder, does Gunfire Reborn have crossplay? Probably not, but let's find out.
Probably not with Sony, knowing Sony, but it probably does everywhere else.
Supports cross-platform multiplayer for certain versions of the game. Players on Xbox, so Xbox Series, Xbox One, and Windows PC version, downloaded through the Microsoft Store, can play together. The Steam version does not have cross-platform multiplayer with Xbox consoles or other PC ports. iOS and Android versions feature cross-platform co-op between themselves, but are separate from the PC and console version. So apparently, if you're on mobile, you're playing with Android or iOS players. So Steam is its own locked away garden in this game's case. But if you play on Xbox or Windows Store,
the Windows Store version, yeah,
I
I try and avoid buying stuff in the Windows Store.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like how it works. Hold on, I got a little
Steam,
bug I'm gonna try to.
Not that I'm like a Steam shill all the damn time, but I do like Steam versions. Did you get it? Got them for audio listeners.
Wasn't around over my light. Sorry.
No, I've had a fly flying around. This has been driving me nuts. Any more thoughts on Gunfire Reborn? Definitely sounds like a winner.
Yeah. Oh, you can also drop in CPU players to play with you.
Oh, bots. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to see how other characters play without playing them yourself, when you've unlocked them, you have a character you want to stick with for now. Right. You can drop in other bots, or if you just want to have a challenge run or just feel like you're playing with other people, there you go.
Okay, that's
So
interesting.
you have options.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty rad. Everybody can be the same character if they wanted to, right? There's no restrictions there.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's one thing I have
It
an
does
issue with
not force you
shooters
to
these
be somebody
days.
different.
Is like not that this is Overwatch, but Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, those online shooters. The issues I have is I think you can't have the same character on your team, so you have to have alternate picks. I hate that. So I just want to be I
Yeah.
just want to be the character I want to be. That's what I want. So that's good. Well,
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Well, I mean, especially as you play this, you'll figure out which characters you gravitate toward more.
Right.
And since they are so different, you might decide, I want to play like this today. And when you're playing with your friends, sometimes based on how you pick or how they pick, it might alter the other's character selection just because you don't want to be. And not that it's a huge issue, but fighting over the same scrolls. It
Okay.
generally doesn't happen because loot drops for everybody. When a scroll drops for you, it also drops for your friend. It may
Okay.
not be the same scroll, but a scroll will drop. A weapon will drop for everybody.
But you have
And
the
then you
option
can
of
share
trading.
with
You can
other
share.
players.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
way to do it. So the people who are not necessarily going to want to share, especially when you're playing with randos online, if you don't have to share, then that's great. But if you want to and you have the ability to quickly do that with friends, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, I think that's Gunfire Reborn. That is sounds like an awesome game, and like I said, the price is right. I would probably get it on Steam if I got it anywhere, especially with the
I'd play with you.
factor. Yeah, Sinister's in chat saying if you pick it up, Jake, we'll do press B runs. I'm all
Yeah.
for these kind of games.
We'll
I
get
do
one
like
for
the online
Chard, too.
gameplay, and it's hard to find a game that we can all like. Just tell Chard it's a scary game. He'll be on board. But yeah, 4-player is pretty awesome. Anything else you've been up to the last week?
Blueprints. This and blueprints.
How many hours are you into Blueprints right now?
Oh God, who knows? Let's see. It's it's not super absurd. I played it a lot less than before the last episode. I'm at 41 hours.
Okay, that's more than
given
me.
that I was at given that I was at like 24 in the few days prior to the last episode, and now I'm
So
at 41 a week later, it's my gameplay time has been cut by like a quarter.
Okay.
So
yeah, when I started playing it, I knew immediately that it's a game that you would probably be in more than anybody else on our crew. You'd be the one that get the deepest into it because there's a lot, man, and I won't spoil it, but I kind of want to maybe later this year we just do a spoiler cast once you've gotten deeper, once Chard and Sinister have gotten further into it. I would like to do a spoiler cast because there is stuff in this game that is not at face value, right? In terms of like lore and world building and story bits, and I'm digging it. I'm still playing. I'm around 30 hours, and I'm trying to cut back how much I play it because there's a lot of stuff that's been coming out I want to play. Like Oblivion Remastered just came out this week. But I still want to go back and play Blueprints. Like I feel like when I'm doing a run now, I don't care about the antechamber. It's just I have a goal in mind of what I want to try and find, and I know I just need that right combination of rooms. And if I don't get it, I'll go do something else lore wise. But there's enough there to keep me invested in wanting to play. And it's been a while since I had a game like this. It's really, really something else.
Yeah. Now that I've got some major overarching goals in the game that I'm going for, I kind of do the same thing. I'll see what my special bonus room is at the beginning of a run. And then from there, determine, okay, what do I want to do this run? What do I want to try to accomplish? And so far, that's been working out pretty well. I'm on I think next time I play, it'll be day 51.
Yeah, I'm around 56, I think. Days 56 or around there. So we're actually around the same although I think you've gotten deeper into it than I have. You found more of this.
I have now, yes.
Of the items. But yeah, it sounds like we're on the same number of days. But I've seen like online folks around like day 150 or something ridiculous. I've seen hundreds of hours in the game. I didn't think that was possible, but there's just a lot there.
Like I was telling you the other day, I had a particularly good run where I was just able to do so much, and it was a 3-hour run. It was stupid. I was like, I'll just do a quick run, and then it wasn't. And I was like, I have shit to do.
Yeah.
But if I quit, that's over.
Yeah. I don't understand why you can't save in the middle of a run. That seems like something that'd be a no-brainer.
You know what's funny? What's funny is I had a problem with Pacific Drive not letting you save and quit in the middle of a run.
That's right. Yes. They eventually
I
added
didn't
that
even
in,
think
though,
twice
right?
about it in this. They
Yeah,
just added it in like a month
Yeah.
ago. I've gotten the game now, but
yeah.
I haven't tried it yet because once I pick up a roguelite, I don't put it down. It's a problem. I still have to beat my Sisyphean this year.
We got lots of time. We got
So
Chart even said in Discord, we have 8 months to go. It's plenty of time. I have lots of time to
once
reinstall
I
Half-Life
started
2.
playing, honestly, Gunfire is what knocked me off of Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah.
Once I started playing that with my friend, I was also like, I don't want to play Final Fantasy 12 right now. I just want to play more Gunfire Reborn.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with RPGs, because like I was playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth because I bought it for some reason, and I don't mind it, but I've been off it now for I think a solid month because of blueprints and other stuff. And now when I went to spin it back up again and play it, I feel lost. Like I'm not sure where to begin with it, and it's that same problem where I want to start over, but that would be stupid because I have like 40 hours into it by now, and I don't want to start over, especially when I don't care for the franchise as it is. So, but I've always been like that with RPGs, right? Like Chard just got today Clair Obscura Expedition 33, which is another game that came out this week. Rave reviews, and I'm like, maybe I'll pick it up. Maybe I'll pick it up. But it's an RPG, and I know even for a short RPG that's like 40 hours, I probably don't have available, and I don't want to get vested in something I'm going to bounce off of, because I've done a lot of that lately, and it doesn't take much. So.
It was funny. My friend was trying to figure out. He was asking me for recommendations because he's been looking for something to play between games, and he's kind of jonesing for something specific, but he's not sure what it is. Just a specific style of gameplay.
Right.
And so I was throwing ideas at him, and then the next day I was like, "Dude, I can like add you to my Steam family."
Yeah.
And then he got super overwhelmed with the list of games he got presented from my account because I have the stupid amount of like 1,200 or 1,500 games or something ridiculous like that in my account. He was like, he sat there and went from like, he was going alphabetically and he got through the D's. And then he texted me, he goes, "You have a lot of games."
That's the thing with Steam, right? Well, because we've had our Steam accounts for 15 plus years, I think, both of us. And I know we made the mistake of in Discord, somebody posted a link of how you can look up how much money you spent in the Steam store over the last decade. And I spent a stupid amount over the years. I mean, maybe not a stupid amount. I mean, I've had my account for 20 years, so it makes sense. And I mostly buy games through there now for PC. But yeah, when I scroll through my library, it is overwhelming. And there's games there I haven't even touched. And like half the time it's on sale for $5. And like, how can I say no? Or it's a Humble Bundle with 10 games. And it's just like, it's hard to turn it down. Especially when Humble Bundle used to be about charity. Then yeah, I'm absolutely going to throw in $30 for this bundle of 20 games I like on paper.
You can still adjust the charity sliders. They're a little hidden away, but you can still adjust them.
You can still do it? Okay. I was worried because they're now more of a business.
Found that the other day.
Okay. But yeah, I know what it's like to want to get a certain type of game.
They have a minimum humble cut now, but you can still adjust the sliders.
I'll tell you, the type of game I'm looking for now is, I really like Valheim, but for very specific reasons, and no other game has done similar, right? I like Valheim because it's got sailing. I love the sailing physics. No other survival game has sailing mechanics like that. And I also like it because of the tree physics, which is the stupidest thing on paper to say, but I like the tree physics in Valheim. Cutting down trees when they knock each other over, when they randomly do a physics flip around and kill you, that's hilarious to me. Nobody does tree cutting like Valheim, and it's driving me nuts because that game is still in early access for at least another year. I mean, they haven't finished all the biomes yet. I think they have one more to go. Next year they're going to have it done. And I love that game, but I want something like that that's more complete, and it's I have not seen it yet.
Aren't we playing that like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, I'll pick it up every year and a half just to see what's new and to mess around with it. But I usually start over, and that's the mistake, right? Because starting in the beginning with nothing is a bit of a drain. But I love Valheim. I don't know.
Yeah, when was the last time I even picked that up? Was 2022. Oh man, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, we played online with Sinistar and Chart for a bit, right? And that was a good time. That's another online game.
Yeah,
that's fun.
And it was like 6 to 12 months before that I had played prior, when I was actually playing through, when everybody was going nuts about it. I think I was playing with my friend and Pulse.
Yeah, when it first came out, I picked it up and we did an episode with I think it was it Pulse and Dave from Tadpog. Were you on that episode too? I can't remember.
I don't recall.
And
I
it's
don't think
forever
so.
ago. Like, I think it was one of our earliest episodes, and it's only audio only. So that's a game that's
Yeah.
been in early access for a long time. And
A long time. Too long.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
fair,
small
I
team, right?
guess.
So, yeah. Oh, crazy stuff. Well, I think that's an episode. This is a game. This
Yeah.
Gunfire Reborn is awesome. Blueprints, awesome. Year of roguelikes. Roguelikes are awesome, even if they
Oh
technically
my
never
gosh.
end, and that's the problem with those, right? So you never feel like you're done. You can always pick them up and play.
Yeah, I'm
So
still looking at Dredge, and I bought Isaac for the
yeah.
Steam over the
Well, what's that
holidays, and I
sailing one
haven't
that
touched
you
it
told me
yet.
about?
Ship of Fools.
That's the one. So I still play that with my daughter on the Steam Deck. We play that on occasion. She loves that one, and we've gotten
That
nowhere.
game is so much fun.
We haven't even beaten the first boss yet, dude. Like we're
Really?
we're not very good at this game. I love it. It's the style is great. Tentacles are popping up, like it's awesome. But we've never beaten that boss. I mean, my daughter's
Wow.
is 11, so it's not like we're pro gamers at this. But
Fair.
like she's more fascinated with throwing birds in the cannons and shooting the birds out of cannons.
Dude, the birds in the cannons are powerful.
Yeah, but you only get like
You throw the seagulls in there,
right?
and they're good ammo.
It's such a weird game.
They pierce. They do a lot of damage. Those are good.
Every time we go on the boat, she's like, "Wait." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, go to the beach. Gotta get a bird. I'm like, "All right, fine. We'll never finish this game. All right, maybe she's on the right track then." But Ship of Fools is another great roguelike, and like yeah. All right. Well, Press B to Cancel is a part of the SuperPod network of podcasts, whether it's retro or otherwise. They're all gaming podcasts, just like us. Check them out, superpodnetwork.com. Of course, you can find Press B to Cancel over on YouTube and Twitch at Press B to Cancel. You can find us on our website, pressbtocancel.com, where we have links to our audio feed where you can listen to the audio episodes on Mondays. There's also a link to our Discord. Come join us on Discord and tell us about Gunfire Reborn. Make me feel better. Tell me that you've heard of this game, or you have not heard this game like me, because I feel like I'm in the dark on this one. Tell me that the Ship Fools is hard and that it's I'm not a bad gamer. That'd be nice. Or just tell me I suck and you're much better
No, it is hard.
Is it hard? Okay, good.
Yeah,
right.
Ship of Fools is difficult. I would give it that. It's not an easy game, especially at first. But
it's brutal. But yeah, this has been a great episode, Wolf. Yeah, we are Press B to Cancel. Thanks for listening and watching. Everybody have a great week.